Wednesday or Friday. So that means your chapter 5 test probably be up this week. So be looking for it. And as long as we get through chapter 6, we'll be good. Because I'm not worried about chapter 7 or the one after chapter 6, because most of y'all know how to do solving systems of equations from algebra 1 and algebra 2. So I'm not worried about that section. All right, so I got the recorder going, and let me pull up some questions I want to go over. And I can't find, there it is. Okay. So let's do one. And basically what we're going to be doing in this section is rational equations. We went over rational functions. Now we're going to go over rational equations. So before, let me get this set up. Before in chapter 4, or whatever chapter before this one, 5.1, 5.2. 5.1 and 5.2, we went over f of x is equal to 1 over x and 1 over x squared, and the family of those graphs. And graph using horizontal and vertical shift, orientation. I'm sorry, I can't spell. Orientation, vertical and horizontal / oblique asymptotes. Okay, we didn't do oblique because there wasn't one in the homework, but anyway, so that's basically what we did in 5.1 and 5.2. 5.3, we're going to actually work with equations. Work with rational, and what's another word for rational? Fractions. Equations. I always think it helps a student to know what we're doing and what we're going to. So in 5.1 and 5.2, you can do a majority of 5.1 and 5.2 on the what? On the calculator. Not so fast with 5.3. You got to use your old algebra skills. Of course, most of y'all are going to suck at that, so you're going to have to work at it. So here we go. Let's do number 1. Let's start off with something simple. Well, if I get my problem up, there it is. Solve. X plus 2 over 2x plus 1 is equal to 1. Now, of course, there is a fraction, so that means we have to get rid of the fraction by multiplying by the denominator. So I'm going to multiply both sides by 2x plus 1. And that will get rid of that. That'll leave us with, ooh, that looks a little bit blurry. That blurry to y'all? Is that better? Yeah, that's better, Hubert. Thank you.
Yeah, that looks better.
Thank you. So that'd be x plus 2 is equal to 1 times 2x plus 1. Now, I know that the multiplicative identity is not going to change anything. But the reason I'm writing this out is because if this was a 2 or a 4 or a -6, you would need to distribute. So x plus 2 is equal to 2x plus 1. Where's the smallest bucket? Smallest bucket is on this side. I'm going to move it across the river and move the 1 across the river. That gives me 1 is equal to 1x and x is equal to 1. We have just solved a rational equation. Not a big deal. So this is where you make sure you write down every single step so you don't go foggy at home when you working on one of these problems on the homework. Now, if you wanted to graph this on a, you would put everything on one side and that would be x plus, we'll do that. I'm going to pull up the handy dandy calculator. If you wanted to graph it, we'll do that in orange. You would bring the 1 over, and that would be x plus 2 over 2x plus 1 minus 1 is equal to f of x. And you would type that in. So that would be y is equal. And let me get rid of this. Parentheses, x plus 2, close parentheses, divided by, open parentheses, 2x plus 1, close parentheses, and then minus 1. And that's going to give you probably a half of a volcano. Yep. And that's what it looks like. Now you could go through and find your y-intercept and your x-intercept by plugging in 0 for x and 0 for y. You could go through and do that, but I don't think they're going to ask you that type of question on this one. And basically what you just found is your x-intercept because you set 0 equal to y. 0 equal to y. So the x-intercept, we just found the x-intercept. So let's check it. Second trace 0. And we think it's right in there. That's the left. That's the right. And there is your x-intercept, which is 1, 0. And that's what we just found. So if you suck at this, you need to watch the video and hit rewind 2 or 3 times and do it over and over and over. But that would be learning. I don't know if some of y'all want to do that. Y'all rather complain, right? It's easier to complain, right?
It's a lot easier.
Yeah, it's a whole lot easier, just like it's easier to quit. All right. So let's discourage you. Let's do a nerd. Solve x over x minus 2. I got to turn this ceiling fan off. Hold on. X over x minus 2 plus 1 over x plus 2 equals 8 over x squared minus 4. I'd go ahead and quit if I was y'all. Why would you quit on this one? Because you have to think. Now, I can tell you right now that you're going to do a lot of factoring when you're dealing with radicals. I'm sorry, when you're dealing with rationals. You got to find a common denominator. With a common denominator, excuse me, is shortcut number 3. So I could rewrite this and say x over x minus 2 plus 1 over x plus 2 equals 8 over x plus 2, or x minus 2 times x plus 2. I'll just make that a plus. Okay? So now the common denominator is x plus 2, x minus 2. So I'm going to multiply both sides by x plus 2 times x minus 2. Put it in here. X plus 2, x minus 2. X plus 2, x minus 2. X plus 2, x minus 2. Now I'm going to put my equation in. X over x minus 2 plus 1 over x plus 2, 8 over x plus 2, x minus 2. And what happens with the x minus 2's here? They cancel. And then x plus 2's cancel here. And then the whole thing cancels there. That's going to leave us with x times x plus 2 plus 1 times x minus 2 is equal to 8. Now I'm going to let y'all finish this one. Y'all should be able to finish that one. Give you a minute to finish it. Okay, so x squared plus 2x plus x minus 2 is equal to 8. X squared plus 3x. I don't know what that was. Minus 2 is equal to 8. X squared plus 3x. Negative 2 minus 8 is negative 10. Reverse FOIL. 2 and 5. We need a positive 5 and a negative 2. X minus 2 is equal to 0. So positive 2 and negative 5 are our x-intercepts. Any questions on that one? Now, one of those may not be your x-intercept, so you're going to check with your handy-dandy graphing calculator. And you're going to type in x over x minus 2. And I guess I'm going to put, trying to think of the best way to do this. Parentheses, x, close parentheses, divided by, parentheses, x minus 2, close parentheses, plus, open parentheses, 1 divided by x plus 2, close parentheses, close parentheses, minus parentheses, 8, close parentheses, divided by, open parentheses, x squared minus 4. Oh gosh. Hold on. X squared. Really? X squared minus 4, close parentheses, and graph. Now you see the positive 2 does not exist. Now there's another way you can tell that. Can anybody see how we can take the 2 out as far as a solution? Anybody? You see it on the graph, but how could you take the 2 out algebraically in your work? Can anybody tell me? Anybody want to guess? Is everybody still there? Can y'all hear me? Nobody's going to talk to me. Anybody want to sing a song?
Trial version.
Okay, there we go. Somebody is responsive. Thank you. Look at here. What happens if I was to take that 2 and plug it back into the equation? Somebody tell me what would happen. Somebody tell me. Anybody see it? Oh, come on, people.
Trial version.
Okay, that's enough. What would happen? What would happen if I plug 2 into the equation? Somebody sees it. What would happen?
You would get a 0 in that denominator.
And that would blow up. Yes. You would get a 0 right here, and that we cannot have. Plug 5 in, everything's okay. So this is your real solution. And you can see it does cross the x-axis at -5. So what do you do when you get a solution to a rational? What is a good practice to get into? When you get 2 answers or 3 answers or 1 answer for a rational equation, what should you always do?
Plug it in.
Mentally plug it in. You don't have to plug it in and do it. You just have to plug it into the denominators because you can't have 0 in the denominator. So if one of those numbers gives you a 0, then it's not a solution. Make sure you write that down because that's going to get you on a test. You're going to be writing all the answers down and being all happy with yourself, and then you're going to whine and cry when you get 3 out of 4 problems wrong because you forgot to plug and chug to check the solutions. All right, let's try nerd. All right, this is an inequality. Now to solve this, first thing you do, the first thing I would do is I would bring the 1 over. Now you don't have to. You could multiply both sides by 2x plus 1. You could do that if you wanted to. You could bring the 1 over. You could do that. Let's bring the 1 over because I hadn't done that with the inequality, so let's do that. X plus 2 over 2x plus 1 minus 1 is less than or equal to 0. Now I can change that 1 into 2x plus 1 over 2x plus 1, x plus 2 over 2x plus 1. Why am I doing that? Because you got to have a common what? To add or subtract. To add or subtract fractions, what do you have to have? Common what? Common what?
denominators.
Thank you. I appreciate you interacting with me. Thank you very much. I ask so much of y'all, don't I? Hopefully those of you that are interacting with me in career won't be put in a closet office down at the end of the hallway because you don't communicate. I just got kicked out. Did y'all notice that I just got kicked out of the classroom?
No, I didn't see you go away.
Yeah, I just got kicked out. Oh well. And let me go back to what I was doing. No, if I was punishing you, I would just be writing and not talking. I did that with one of my classes. They didn't like it, but it's okay for them not to talk during class. That makes it okay. Okay, forget it. All right, so you got to have a common denominator. Thank y'all for texting. I appreciate it, but I would like for y'all to talk, but I appreciate those of you that are actually texting. I just wish y'all would talk. Thank you. All right, so I get a common denominator. So technically I have x plus 2 minus 2x minus 1 over 2x plus 1 less than or equal to 0.
I can't see your stream now that you left.
Okay, evidently it reset everything. Sorry. Can you see me now?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm having to set up everything else. Okay. So we got a common denominator, and we've got x plus 2 minus 2x minus 1. That's going to give us negative x. 2 minus 1 is plus 1 over 2x plus 1 is less than or equal to 0. Now you can solve the top and the bottom. Since this is less than or equal to 0, you can say negative x plus 1 is less than or equal to 0, and 2x plus 1 is less than or equal to 0. And this is going to give you x is less than, or x is equal to 1, and x is equal to negative 1/2. Now, what you just found is you just found the points called critical points. And that means that you've got, if you take a number line and you do negative 1/2 and 1, and you plug in points, then you're going to find whether you get, you're going to find whether you get positives or negatives depending on what you plug in. So if I plug in 0, I'm going to get 0 over, I'm sorry, I get 2 over 1. Yeah, so that's going to be positive. So you're going to get positive answers here. And if I plug in 2, 2 plus 2 is 4. 4 over 5. So that's positive. And then down here, if I plug in a -1, -1 plus 2 is +1. That's going to give me a negative over here. Okay, so that's what you would do there. And you can graph this one also. So let's go to y is equal to, and I'm just going to clear all this. And I'm going to do x parentheses x plus 2 divided by parentheses 2x plus 1 close parentheses, and then subtract 1. I believe we did this one before, only it was an equality. And there it is. Okay. So make sure you can graph it on a, that's all you need to do. Make sure you can solve it algebraically and make sure you can solve it graphically or see it on the graph. All right, let's try another one. Keep grabbing 2 or 3 sheets of paper today. Solve 1 over x minus 1 over x minus 2 is greater than 2. Now you could multiply both sides by x times x minus 2. Excuse me. You could do that, or you could bring the 2 over and be a -2. However you want to do it, it's up to you. You can do both sides. I'm going to multiply both sides by x times x minus 2. So I'm going to put x times x minus 2 over 1, x times x minus 2 over 1, x times x minus 2. This will be 1 over x minus 1 over x minus 2. And that's going to be 2 times that. And of course, the x goes out here. And then the x minus 2 goes out there. So you're left with 1 times x minus 2 minus x greater than 2x times x minus 2. Distribute the x, or the 1, x minus 2 minus x greater than 2x squared minus 4x. Now I'm going to take the x's out. Those x's cancel. I'm going to bring that 2 over here. And that's going to be 0 is greater than 2x squared minus 4x plus 2. Now you can factor a 2 out. 0 is less than 2 times x squared minus 2x plus 1. That's shortcut number 2, which will give you 0 is greater than 2 times x minus 1 quantity squared. And 2 is not less than 0, so 0 is greater than 2, and 0 is greater than x minus 1 quantity squared. And of course, that's not right. 0 is not greater than 2, so that's x'd out. And now you just solve this, and that's going to give you x, or 0 is greater than x minus 1, and then x is less than 1. Okay, so you can graph that one, and all I would do is bring that 2 over, and you could graph that one. It's going to cross at the x-intercept at x is less than 1, so that means it's going to, feasibility region is going to be on the left side of 1. Now, when you see one like this, this is kind of a question that they're going to see if you're going to think. Solve f of x is equal to 7x to the negative 4th minus 8x to the negative 2 plus 1. Now, does anybody have any idea what we should do on this one before we get started? Quit. Quitting is a good option. What do we not want in algebra? Negative what? Okay, I want somebody to say something. Negative what? Well, my internet's going in and out. I don't know what's going on. Are y'all with me again? I need somebody to say something. Say it again.
I can hear you.
Okay, we're gonna have to, it keeps going in and out, so I'm gonna go ahead and call it a day. Let me go ahead and get the roll. Let me go ahead and stop. And stop the recording.